Randomizer, and the number 2 seed, as we've seen, seeding in Randomizer isn't that important, to be honest, but even so, it is. Sigma's a very, very scary opponent. What can you tell me about Ronny?
Now, Ronny is one of these runners of Ori and the Blind Forest who is really, really skilled at this game. Actually, just until like, was it yesterday? I don't even remember, but
it was late last night.
Yeah, so late last night that got beaten by roughly about 1 second. So he's still very fast, but not the fastest runner. So this is definitely winnable for Sigma.
Yeah, I know Ronny's been putting in practice on the Randomizer. Of course, both of these runners are also in the doubles tournament, so they've had exposure to various forms of the Randomizer. I mean, to say Sigma has had exposure to the Randomizer is the world's biggest understatement, but Ronny especially, I know, has been rapidly improving. I'll be very curious to see what happens here.
Yeah, me too. Like you said, Sigma has definitely the experience advantage just because he created the Randomizer and he's also played it basically since the beginning. And that's been what, like how many years has the Randomizer been out? Quite a while, right?
I actually wasn't with it at the very beginning. I want to say it's been like 1.5 or 2 years-ish. Maybe not quite that long. Certainly over a year, because you had the Randomizer tournament last year.
Okay, so Ronny probably did Randomizer for like 3 months, something like that. So, but he of course has the executional advantage. So anything could happen here. For now, we're starting out with this first race. It's going to be a best of 3, so whoever wins the first race will not be out of the tournament just yet. We will definitely go to a game 2 after this one.
What's the first skill of the seed going to be?
We've already had charge jump today. Let's just go with a normal wall jump. And for the first pickup, a keystone. Okay,
nope.
Normal wall jump for the first pickup, but I take it.
You are 50% correct. That's pretty solid. Wall jump is a very vanilla kind of opening, not vanilla in the literal sense of the word. It's not the same as the base game, but very common start with that wall jump pickup. Fairly likely that Black Root Burrows is going to be the first intended location.
Seeing as they found another map stone, that might just happen because Black Root Burrows is reachable now and there's only 2 more pickups left that they could get. And if these are not 2 keystones, left blades is not available for us.
Yeah, what I'll be curious to see is whether Sigma or Ronny goes directly into Blackroot, which is an option when you have the early wall jump, or whether they go check the early 2 keystones.
I would expect them to check the keystones because it doesn't take too much time. It might give them something more, but just as I say that Ronny is doing that play, whereas Sigma is already going to Black Root Burrows.
Yeah, this is actually a play that I'm a fan of. Sigma is going to take just an extra few seconds to get a level up. That's still a net time save, because Sigma is going to save more time skipping the cutscene than he did dipping off to the left to wreck the slime. Interesting, Ronny on the right actually did get 2 keystones. He's going to get his 21 experience and then take an intentional death because he wants to go through the door. So we have a split on our hands.
I was laughing a little bit there because Ronny probably done this little strategy from the last race that just happened, taking a death to the spikes after checking fake flippers to not have to reload and just get back a little bit faster.
Yeah, it's interesting. So as I said, Sigma going to Black Root early, it's kind of up for debate, as with many randomizer decisions, what the objectively correct thing to do. Of course, the answer is that there isn't an objectively correct answer. There's a subjectively correct answer. So, for example, Sigma might be going to Black Root first because he knows he can full clear it, and then maybe he gets verticality to be able to clear more of glades in one pass.
And on the right side, Ronny has found Charge Flame on the, I think it was the what is that? The keystone is there? Yeah, that's the keystone there. That's not really too huge at this moment, but he can of course.
It's going to give him access to Charge Flame Tree, though.
Yeah, but like, he would probably go to Black Root Burrows, right? So it's not like a major advantage, and also Sigma will definitely find that after clearing Black Root Burrows. So if there's something at Charge Flame Tree that Ronny will get a little bit earlier than Sigma, it could potentially be a small advantage, but nothing huge, since this is the early game, and I would expect both of these runners to basically check this early game area.
Well, speaking of the early game area, this is cool as well. Ronnie finished up clearing around that sort of purple spinners area, and of course had the option to drop down to wall jump, but he's actually going to go to Spirit Caverns beforehand. This is another one of those sort of, I guess you can think of it as a 50-50 decision. Do you go to wall jump and then Spirit Caverns, or vice versa? Ronnie also thankfully rekindled his save. That could have been a much worse death.
Still, it wasn't a minor death. Still, like, okay, he has to wait on the door opening animation, which that takes a little bit more time even.
It was probably like a 10 to 12 second death there, as opposed to being sent back a minute and a half, is my point.
Yeah, of course, the rekindle obviously saved him from quite a bad thing there. But now he's a little bit more careful, maybe. These Spirit Caverns on just 3 HP can be pretty tough, because you basically can only take 1 damage, and Ronnie's only on 2 HP, so he can take 0 damage, or he could take 1 damage, but they deal 2 damage, so...
Yeah, well, we'll see what Ronnie finds in this final keystone. I think that was lucky. Ronnie almost died there, took damage from the flower rather than the projectile. There's Climb, so we have Climb, Wall Jump, and Charge Flame in the early game. Climb isn't going to do much right now.
Yeah, but nothing in Blackwood Burrows so far. So, right now, Spirit Cavern seems to be the play.
Well, the thing is that, as you know, with this skill set, with the early Charge Flame and the early wall interaction, going all the way through Spider Sack is almost always logic, assuming you get enough keystones. Ronnie, for example, went into Spirit Caverns early, which has the benefit of a lot of pickups. However, if the seed does force these runners to open up the 4 keystone door, Ronnie's going to have to revisit Spirit Caverns, which is going to be advantage to Sigma. Sigma, of course, having more keystones because he's already been through Blackroot.
That is true. Now Ronnie has found another keystone on the wall jump tree. He would need 1 more keystone to continue in Spirit Caverns. Maybe this energy cell that he's about to pick up will be one. And it's just experience, so he will have to go to Blackwood Burrows, I think, and then get his next keystone. And since there was nothing there, that might indeed be a little of a lead for Sigma then.
Yeah, this is why earlier I said that I like going to Blackroot first. The downside is that you might cost yourself additional time in Blackroot, but since we know that Glades, at least the part of Glades that's currently accessible, doesn't have anything that speeds up Blackroot, it's, again, kind of a wash as to which area you go to first. Sigma, on the left, activated, map 1 got an energy cell, so he's up to 2, and there's his Charge Flame.
And Ronnie is just going through Blackwood Burrows the normal way. The 2 skills that he found, Climb and Charge Flame, don't speed this up in any way. Maybe it's a little bit safer on platforms, but not really, because he has Wall Jump and Sigma had that as well. Otherwise he would not have been able to enter Blackwood Burrows. So we will be seeing a small lead from Sigma, just because of that Spirit Caverns revisit that Ronnie will have to be doing.
Well, I should point out as well, this is something we didn't say as it happened, since Sigma also picked it up. The Swamp Teleporter was found. Ronnie has it, Sigma has it. The problem is that going to the Swamp Teleporter with this skill set is very slow, and you have to skip a number of pickups. So if your options are go to Swamp Teleporter with only Wall Jump, Charge Flame, or go to the Charge Flame, or go around the Spirit Tree area, I'd have to think that going around Spirit Tree is probably the better call, but even that's up for debate.
Yeah, I would say the Spider Sack play is probably better, at least for getting that Charge Flame tree first.
Better for the reason that it will... Well, you know, now that I say that, I think I might be wrong. The reason is that going through
the first clue, right?
Well, going through Spider Sack is slow, and you have to skip a number of pickups, like the 4 energy door, because these runners don't have 4 energy. So I kind of want to revise my previous statement. Going to Swamp is pretty okay because you can go to Grotto earlier. It's hard to say.
Routing can be pretty tough in this randomizer. It's a pretty big part of the randomizer, actually, to think about where the seed maybe wants to take you, and then also think about what's maybe the most efficient route that you could take. Now we see Sigma indeed making the play for the Charge Flame tree first. He could, of course, opt to alt R after that and then make the play for the Swamp Teleporter, but we will find that out pretty shortly.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see clue 1. Sigma is actually going to go out of his way to pull the lever. I'm not sure if Sigma is going to be going through the spider sack immediately. I kind of doubt it. He'll probably just be pulling it for later. Meanwhile, Ronnie's about to get dash, so we're going to be getting that clue 1 at almost the same time.
Has Ronnie gotten the charge flame tree yet? No, right? So no clue for Ronnie yet.
Oh, I thought he'd been to charge flame. Oh, my mistake.
Anyway, the first clue was Onigumon seal, so not too important. That seems to be in Blackwood Burrows.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't matter. Sigma is dropping back down. I'm sure he's going to be heading off to the left to clear out Spirit Caverns. And I guess we've mentioned now like 2 or 3 times that choice between going to the Swamp Teleporter versus going through Spirit Caverns. The other thing is that there's an opportunity cost involved in not going through this 4 energy door and unlocking the Grove Teleporter while you have the opportunity, even if you don't intend to continue along that path.
I would expect... yeah. But I would expect Sigma to maybe continue at least to check some of these Valley entry pickups. Maybe not make the slow Spider Sack area play, but at least Valley entry. I could imagine him doing that.
I think that was the Sorrow Teleporter for Ronnie.
Ooh.
Yeah,
not really used for right now, but for later, that's nice.
Yeah, the thing is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Sigma skipped this. This is an area that I know Sigma is a fan of skipping because at the moment, even though Ronnie is continuing past the boulder, it's only that first experience which is in logic. So Sigma knew that with only 1 in logic pickup, it wasn't worth taking, roughly a minute or more to go check it. And as you said, that Star Teleporter is important, but it's not going to matter for some time, if it ever does.
So Sigma will probably get that when it matters. But wow, okay, there's Water Vein on Mapstone 2, it seems like. That's a pretty nice fight early on.
It is, but as with a lot of them, Ronnie has it first, but it's not going to be advantageous because Sigma will find it, and more to the point, Sigma will find it before either runner can go into the Ginso tree anyway.
Yeah, that's really the thing. You would want some kind of, or not want, you need some kind of vertical movement in order to progress through the Ginso tree, so it's not even in logic right now. And being on Mapstone 2, Sigma will definitely get that once he reaches another Mapstone altar, which will maybe be the iceless Mapstone altar for him, I could imagine.
It's going to be that or Grotto. It is interesting to me that Sigma is watching this cutscene. Not interesting in a bad way, just interesting. I think in his position, I would probably watch the cutscene. The downside is that if you skip that cutscene, you don't have the teleporter. And with only 2 energy, your sign gets stuck and your energy gets messed up. It's just a pain. It's a bunch of pain and annoyance for saving, 20 seconds or whatever it is. And so Sigma, I'm sure, is just going to say, you know what, I'm just going to watch this cutscene and get it out of the way.
And he might need that later on. Like, of course, there's the Sorrow Teleporter.
I'm sorry, I need to interrupt you. Did you see what Sigma just upgraded? He just spent a bunch of ability points to upgrade to Ultra Magnet. The reason he's doing this is that he's going to go through the Spider Sack area and open up the 4 energy door very, very early using a trick where you break the energy cells up top. This is a bold choice because that's a lot of investment of his ability points.
And a very interesting play that I did not know about, but that's pretty genius. Who came up with that?
Check this out. It's going to be the energy, where the energy crystals are, like up top. Reminder, this door, of course, takes 4 energy to open. So Sigma's going to kill this thing. He's going to go up top. He's going to try to break these energy crystals and then drop back down. Sigma's not going to have any energy, though. So he's going to break these and then run away. 2 in the door, 2 more.
Beautiful. Now, what's it going to be? 42 experience.
That is so unlucky. Especially
not enough experience to make up for the ability points he just spent to check that.
Well, here's the problem. Sigma is now out of energy completely, so he can't even drop the thing. He has to turn around, try to get more energy, or else go and refill his energy before going through Spider Sack a second time. So that was a big investment on Sigma for 1 early pickup.
Now on the right side, Roddy has used the Swamp Teleporter in order to make it to the swamp area. So he will check these pickups that are around here. It's a pretty pickup dense area, but he does not... No, he does have Plant Breakage, so it's a very pickup dense area for him at this point. And like you said at the start, rumors, there might be something here because there's lots of pickups that all of them are in logic right now with the skills that they have.
Yeah, Ronnie's going to have to skip a few of them. Like there's a health cell above the location where Ronnie just passed by. Ronnie's also going to have to skip the plant and the ability cell off to his left. But the big advantage here is that Ronnie's going to get to Moon Grotto early, and by extension, he'll be getting to his double jump tree probably a little bit earlier than Sigma, depending on the route that Sigma takes. The downside is that because of skipping these pickups, Ronnie's likely going to have to make multiple passes.
And he's reminding us that he has found Warmth Returned, the most useful pickup in this game because it does exactly nothing. So
literally nothing. It's less valuable than 1 XP.
Yeah, which is the other, not literally nothing pickup, but pretty close to that. Two one-of-a-kind pickups that you will most likely find in all of your runs. There's Water Vein for Sigma, so they really only need to find the Sunstone for dungeon keys. And then of course the skill set that would enable them to just finish out the seed.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. We've sort of seen a little bit of a convergence of the runners. I mean, not in their literal positions at the moment, but like Ronnie went to that swamp TP and had the option of going around the outer loop into Grotto or clearing out Iceless, and of course Sigma is now in Iceless and checking the Horror Field's health cell. So Sigma will probably end up following around in Ronnie's footsteps and will find everything that Ronnie has found. Kind of unlucky for Sigma's part that his more thorough searching hasn't paid off yet, but that Ultra Magnet is still going to help Sigma. I mean, not in the sense that it will directly give him pickups, but that's just a nice convenience to have as you go.
In combination with Spirit Light efficiency, should he find that, he will have a lot of experience early on. Now on the right side, Ronnie did find double jump at the energy cell here after the death gauntlet, and that is really the start for him as well. He has just gotten that with double jump and the charge flame. You can actually break the plant from the ceiling like that. Would be nice to find Glide, because otherwise Wind Distort is absolutely nothing.
Yeah, so right now I have to say advantage to Ronnie, not for any fault of Sigma. Sigma is just being very, very thorough. To be honest, a little bit more thorough than I expected, and I might be completely off base here, but if I had to guess, it's because Sigma knows he's starved on skills, that he's being as thorough as he is. He doesn't want to miss anything. Again, unfortunate for his part that Ronnie has been the one to find double jump so far.
Yeah, since the search for Sigma really didn't give him anything, Ronnie is a little bit ahead right now in terms of knowledge, and then also he has just found the double jump skill and Wind Restored. But it's not a lead that Sigma cannot come back from. Like, we are so early in the seed, but it will be nice for Ronnie, because in general I would argue that Sigma, just because of his experience, has a little bit of an advantage here. So being ahead early on is very nice for Ronnie.
To be honest, I wouldn't call it a little bit of an advantage. I mean, I don't think we need to mince words. Sigma is highly advantaged in this seed. Ronnie is a very talented player. It's just we're going up against Sigma, one of the best that there is. So as you said, Sigma is behind for the moment. But again, not through fault, just through some calculated gambles, spending additional time being thorough. And even here, Ronnie, for example, backtracked to the Iceless area, which Sigma has already been through. And so Sigma will be heading into Death Gauntlet and be catching up before long, although I'm curious whether Sigma is going to go to Death Gauntlet first or go down into the Lower Grotto area first.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see. He might choose to check Grotto from top to bottom. I think that would probably make sense. And that would mean the Death Gauntlet play first. But we will find out what he does pretty shortly. He's going to skip the lasers right here, something that Ronnie did as well, and that you almost always want to do, because otherwise movement through here can be pretty tough.
Yeah, so for the time being, I'd say pay attention to the right. Ronnie will be clearing out some new pickups, starting with a save anywhere glitch to check the Water Vein in the Experience Orb to the right. So he'll be continuing to check a few pickups. Meanwhile, on the left, is Sigma going to go down, or is he going to go left through Death Gauntlet? Looks like he's going to drop down.
Yeah, with a save anywhere, he's probably preparing to skip the bridge opening cutscene. So yeah, he's going down. We can see that right now. Ronnie is checking the glide vault. He did not do that before the bridge opening cutscene. So we still see on Ronnie's side which skills we can expect to be.
Now, that's bad. Ronnie only has 3 health, and you cannot get down to that pickup underwater and survive with only 3 health, which means that Ronnie had to leave behind. Well, he could have kept the map stone, but he left it behind. More to the point, Ronnie had to leave behind an extra double jump, which is a very, very valuable pickup when you also have regular double jump. I wonder if Ronnie's going to mentally mark that and go back for it at any point, or whether he's just content to leave it.
Yeah, we will have to see about that. Now, interestingly, Sigma did not check the glide vault on his way down. I don't know if he did not have enough energy for that, like he's on 2 right now.
Well, he also only has wall jump, and so checking that stuff is going to suck, even if it's in logic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with double jump, I'm sure he would have done it. Well, been much more likely to go check it. Sigma, I think you'll probably agree with me, Spark, that checking Death Gauntlet from the left is very slow and sort of inconvenient. Even though in this seed it contained double jump, most of the time you want to skip it. And so Sigma will go there at some point, I'm sure, but it's kind of unlucky for his part that he's going to have to skip some things in Grotto in the meantime, unless he also gets lucky and finds another skill down here.
Now the mini-boss check is always interesting. He could kill it pretty quick with a charge flame to redirect the shot, so it doesn't take too long. It's just a keystone. Sigma actually has 12 keystones at the moment, so he's pretty much set on keystones. But it's always kind of a slow check, and it just more so strengthens the point that Sigma feels like the seed is pretty starved, and so he's gonna check everything. So putting really the one play behind the Death Gauntlet play that would give him more progression right here. Now, luckily, so far nothing has been locked by double jump.
Well, and I want to say too, we talked about how Sigma can make up this lead and various routing choices that someone could decide to make. You're already seeing the results of that. Ronnie, even though he was ahead, he got to the Swamp Teleporter early, he got to Swamp and Grotto earlier, he even has double jump, but even so, Ronnie is being extremely thorough, went to left Grotto, and now is going to the mini-boss. Meanwhile, Sigma is already closer to the double jump tree.
It does look like Sigma is ahead now, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, defining ahead or behind can be difficult, but at least in terms of straight-up tree progress, Sigma is prioritizing trees.
And now already on 5 energy. The energy that Ronnie has is probably 3, like what he has right now is a mega energy. So now Sigma can open these 4 energy doors, and it looks like he's immediately taking them into the Death Gauntlet, and then he will probably find his double jump.
He will, and this is what I was talking about, is going left through Death Gauntlet isn't logic, but it's slow and it's usually bad. In this seed it was good, but it's usually bad. The reason is that once you get 4 energy, you can check all this stuff much more easily en route back to Grotto. And so lucky for Sigma that he did get that 4 energy when he needed it.
And also that there really wasn't anything with the double jump pickups in Grotto.
Also, holy cow. Okay, not that big a deal. Sigma got a spare energy so we could check that explosion power up. I thought that was the double jump, so never mind, but
now
carry
it
on,
was
Sigma's
energy
gonna get it.
Now we will see, okay, jumps through there. I was gonna say we will see if he takes double jump in order to check this one plant.
Well, the thing is that there are choices now. In a seed like this where you get wall jump and double jump, there's going to be a lot of pickups in Grotto and Swamp that were previously inaccessible that you can now check. But there's an argument to be made for all else equal, go to the tree location first. And right now, the tree location in question would be using that water vein to go into Ginso, since Sigma has plenty of keystones to do so.
Oh, that's a good point, Grim. Like I was sitting here wondering where progression could be. It's probably even Ginso right now. Like they have checked lots of pickups already. Of course, there are some pickups left that they have not checked yet, but revisiting them would take quite a while. So Ginso being a pretty pickup dense area is probably the better play at this point. Sigma will also not be able to take this extra double jump from the glide.
He's gonna altar.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's worth it. If I had to guess, it's the reason where, like, again, there's that split. Do you continue digging in somewhere that's not tree progression, or do you go to tree progression? Sigma, I'm guessing, wanted to do a little bit of extra searching, maybe a lot more extra searching, but that double jump is, or the extra double jump is so valuable that I agree with the time investment.
It is very valuable, especially if they would not find glide through the seed. More jumps are always useful. Now on the right side, there's Stomp for Ronnie in the Ginzo tree, which is probably...
You were right that it was a progression in here.
Yeah, exactly. It is some kind of progression. Not too huge, but at the same time, it opens up some stuff. Not too much stuff, actually, right? Like, Valley is still not really possible for them, even though they can stomp the pack now.
That's correct. At this point, it just has to be one of the remaining pickups. The other thing is that Ronnie still has 4 remaining pickups and the Bash tree in Ginso. If any of those are Charge Jump or Bash or something like that, Ronnie could continue further in the Ginso tree, which itself could contain even more progression. I want to briefly check in while Ronnie's doing his mini-boss fight. Sigma is in this Grotto Vault, which is in logic because of Sigma's total energy count, but Sigma's currently only at, well, was at 1 energy, now he's at half an energy, has to back out. Sigma can't even do a save drop because he's now less than 1 energy, so we can't make a save point.
Ooh, okay, Ginzo is the play as it looks like. Ronnie just found Dash on one of these 2 keystones, so he's probably pretty happy with that. These fast runners are pretty comfortable on the dash skill, and mostly they are pretty happy to see that. Now Sigma is a pretty fast runner as well, so he would probably be happy about the dash.
Well, the other thing about dash is that both dash and stomp were in the Ginso tree, and dash plus stomp equals light grenade.
It screams light grenade, right? The Ginso play just says, "Here, have some skill that gets you to light grenade."
Ronnie is actually trying to continue further up in the Ginso tree. Nice job using only double jump. Remember, Ronnie skipped the triple jump. So nice job by Ronnie to get the 1. He's going to try to advance with double jump. I don't even know if this is possible, to be honest, but he's going to try it.
Will be a huge advantage for Sigma. Apparently you can. With triple jump, it would be pretty trivial, I'd say. So Sigma has triple jump.
Well, that's really impressive, though. This is not in logic, what Ronnie's doing. It's not in logic to advance, but it does get you access to a number of pickups. Advancing further than that is not going to be, if possible, certainly not something Ronnie wants to try, so he's just going to leave.
It's pretty amazing how many, like, micro-ledge something areas there are that you can abuse to get to lots of places with just double jump and wall interaction.
Yeah, Sigma will be getting all the same pickups, so we've sort of seen a repeated pattern in this seed so far, right? Where Ronnie has a temporary advantage via his routing choices. Not that his routing choices are better in their own right, just that they happen to be leading to better pickups like Stomp and Dash. But Sigma will catch up shortly after, and that's going to be true here as well. The thing is that Ronnie is going to clear additional pickups in Glades rather than going to Light Grenade first and foremost. So that's another instance where Sigma could maybe gain some time back, assuming Ronnie doesn't find anything.
And we will also see if Sigma chooses to continue through Ginzo. Like you said, Grim, it's not in logic like the upper part of Ginzo. So maybe Sigma chooses to not continue after finding Dash and Stomp, which would probably make him think Light Grenade, just as we thought.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Ronnie, there was a question of whether he was going to do the Glades, or he's not going to, at least not right now, although it isn't logic. Instead, Ronnie's going to open up this 4 keystone door and clear out Valley entrance, something that Sigma's already done, although Sigma wasn't able to check the top pickup, and it is
the other useful pickup.
Maximum value pickup, ladies and gentlemen.
Add a keystone from the plant. Then Sigma, oh yeah, Sigma checked that. But now, okay, Ronnie is continuing through the right. It's probably checking the spider sack area right now, skipping the teleport.
Ronnie was he was hesitating for a moment. You could see him consider going off to the left, probably thinking, I have Stomp, oh, but wait, there's nothing in logic. The only pickup that Ronnie could get access to further left at the moment is the underwater pickup, and that's not even in logic right now.
Now, they should be able to get the 6th tree with the light grenade tree, right? And that could potentially be the sunstone clue. So it might be a good idea to go check that before digging somewhere else.
Yeah, I want to draw attention to Sigma. Remember that Ronnie was here? Well, Sigma can continue because he has triple jump. Ronnie had to leave the extra double jump behind because he didn't have enough health to survive the poison. So in fact, Ronnie is still only at 4 health, whereas Sigma, I'm fairly certain, is chilling on a mega health. He hasn't actually collected that much health, I don't think. But what Sigma is doing is still not in logic at the moment, but he'll be able to get a lot of pickups, specifically like 4 more pickups along his path into this Keystone Ring.
That would be rough if there was something useful here, because it's not in logic right now, and well, it would come in logic later on through the seed, but that would force Ronnie to revisit. So far, nothing really useful here though, just experience and some health cells, but not really costing Sigma too much time, and he will probably go to Light Grenade now. We'll see where he goes. Yeah, that's the tree play.
Looks like Sigma might even be getting the dash plant along the way. It's a pretty common strategy. You know, if you're going down to Light Grenade, just make sure you go through the front entrance. Unfortunately, Sigma can't check the dash plant as quickly as you can in some seeds, not having either Bash Grenade or Charge Jump. But with these skills, it still is going to be a pretty quick check. Health regen is actually valuable at this point. Not as valuable as the skill, but that's nice.
Effectively putting you on 1 more HP. I did like the movement from Sigma to the dash bump there. It looked pretty smooth.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of trying to mitigate those platform cycles. Remember, the Sigma never even came down to this area, so now we have parity in the form of that Sorrow TP. Sigma's not going to continue through the boulder area, even though it is currently in logic with dash.
Would be 2 more pickups and another Mapstone turn-in for Sigma at this point. We have not seen what's in Mapstone 4 yet, so maybe he will choose to check that later on, but probably not.
It's hard to say. The thing is that Blackroot teleporter is not really valuable. It's one of the least valuable teleporters in the game, with some restrictions. For example, if you get a Blackroot clue, suddenly it becomes a lot more valuable. But even then, it doesn't take very long with dash to re-enter through the front door, so Sigma's just gonna go towards what he knows for a fact is progression in the form of the Light Grenade tree. That was tree 6, and I completely missed what the clue was.
Okay, the truck saving us there because I missed that as well. No Sunstone clue yet, so it was the Water Vein clue, but we already have the Water Vein, so no new clue for us. We will also see that on the right side for Ronnie coming up right now.
Yeah, so despite many of these, I don't want to keep harping on this point, but Ronnie so far has gotten all the major skills first. Ronnie got Charge Flame first, he got Double Jump first, he got Stomp first, he got Dash first. But even so, Sigma has now taken the lead with both runners at 6 trees, and Sigma is further along trying to stay alive here in Sorrow Pass, which is doable, I think. It's just not easy. I think Sigma's all right, though.
Yeah, he's in the clear now. Just needs to spam jump and stomp and hope that he gets the stomp. There we go. And now he gets his charge jump tree. I don't even know if that was the logic of this play.
It's not with this skill set, but it is a tree that you can get out of the way. Something that you can go back for later. The other thing is that going to the charge jump tree like that, you don't really have to skip any pickups along the way, which is nice. Ronnie, for his part, is still searching. Did go to the Light Grenade tree, but is going to check some pickups that are rather out of the way, like the Glazer. The Glazer isn't logic, so it might be something very valuable, but this is a slow check, and it's notorious for a reason, is that it's a big time sink.
Ronnie seems to be a little bit lost in terms of reading the logic at this point, where Sigma is choosing to do these sequence breaks in order to advance through the seed. It looks like Ronnie is choosing to find the intended progression and then keep going. But there's lots of one-off pickups that he could check, so thinking about all of them and which pickups are still left is pretty tough.
Yeah, I want to focus on Sigma. Sigma took several attempts at the stomp trick. It's something that was discovered. It's not brand new, but it's relatively new as far as the randomizer history. With that, Sigma is going to be able to drop down all the way through Sorrow and get his Valley Teleporter and get his Feather Tree, which is going to leave him. Will bring him one tree closer to completion, I suppose. Sigma still does have to be careful, but with Air Dash and Charge Dash, you can make it all the way to the rocks.
And with Charge Dash and
I'm sorry, I need to
okay.
You see?
Yeah, I saw that. Go ahead.
Ronnie found Grenade. It was in this spiky area that I like to call the Teeth Corridor. Other people disagree, but regardless of what you call it, that Grenade find is, to be honest, not that impactful at the moment. It's a very important pickup. However, by itself, it doesn't really grant you a lot of access to new trees. What it does grant you access to is more checks, which might get you something like Bash or Glide.
Might be the progression he needs in order to, go to Valley the intended way. Now he would probably like to see Glide next.
Well, and yeah, the other thing about finding that Valley Teleporter right now is nice, but Ronnie can't do a lot with it without Bash. He could technically use rocket jumping to get around to the rocks, and maybe that's what Ronnie's going to do, but this Kuro Kill Plane is active. Well, not anymore. It was active.
Yeah, we saw Ronnie, I think that was just a Dash Glide to skip this death plane. Now it's not active. He has to make sure to get rid of the rocks though now in order to make it stay inactive.
Yeah, and check out Sigma, by the way. While we've been talking, Sigma is, oh my god, barely stayed alive there. This is a pretty bold play. Getting through Misty Woods with this much health, no ultra defense, and no bash is not the easiest thing in the world, but Sigma's doing it so that he can get his tree 9 and get that Sunstone clue in order to try to direct his searching. This is not easy.
It certainly is not, and this also speaks of what kind of a randomizer runner Sigma is. Like, he's pretty comfortable with these not very easy sequence breaks in order to just advance his tree progression to, well, get through the seed faster, basically, instead of having to look for these one-off pickups, which could hold progression at this point.
Yeah, the other problem is that if the Sunstone ends up being in Misty, it's going to be pretty difficult for Sigma to continue past the climb tree with his current skill set. He would probably try it, so I guess for Sigma's sake, let's hope that the Sunstone is somewhere else.
We will find that out pretty soon. This should be his 9th tree.
Yep, it'll be 9th.
Yeah, should be.
Hasn't been to Stomp,
track,
because he didn't have a good way to get into Stomp. Still doesn't, to be honest.
Yeah, he still doesn't have a good way to get into Stomp. Like, he would probably bash or maybe clean water with a grenade in logic, but Sigma would also need grenade for that then.
Also, I think I was totally mistaken. Just Sigma does have ultra defense, so I said he didn't. I was wrong. This is still difficult, but not as bad as I thought it was.
Maybe the Ultra Magnet that he leveled early on made him able to already level Ultra Defense.
Oh,
now,
okay, that's a relief. That's a relief that the Sunstone's in Grotto.
What pickups have they not checked in Grotto yet? The Grotto Wall, right? The one that Sigma could not safe drop
there's the Grotto Vaults, and I'm not sure if there's anything else. I'm sure Sigma will be able to keep track. When Ronnie gets that clue, hopefully he will remember what he has and has not checked. But this is big. Ronnie, while Sigma has been rushing these trees out of sequence, Ronnie has been continuing to do additional checks. Meanwhile, Sigma's about to grab his grenade. But Sigma definitely has a pretty big advantage here.
He pretty much only needs to find the waterway now, and then he needs some kind of swamp access, but he has grenade now and he has ultra defense, so the swim should be possible for him, right? So he pretty much has stomp access.
Well, the swim will be possible in the final escape, but that's not, I think, the part of the final escape that will be hard for Sigma. With this skill set, I don't know if Sigma can make it through the final escape. I'm kind of trying to think through all the pieces. It's going to be a hard time, to say the least.
I'm thinking too. Yeah, Yeah, he will probably have to damage boost once in this elemental area. Like
well, anyway,
to.
Sigma is just continuing to do checks in Grotto. Sigma's going to save and reload in order to respawn the frog's position because Sigma's trying to do a rocket jump off of this frog. Ordinarily, this is kind of a pain, but like, okay, it's not the Sunstone, but it is in Grotto, and at this point you can't afford to leave anything behind.
Now he has found another health cell, and that's pretty much the only thing he really needs right now, I think. Apart from just other skills, that would always be nice to just get them. But of course, he's doing all of these checks in order to find the Sunstone.
Well, like you say other skills would be nice, and I agree. Like, I honestly don't know if the final escape is possible with this skill set. That's what I'm thinking. I think that Sigma is going to need something else in order to survive. I mean, it's something that we could think about and discuss, but if this is possible, it's got to be one of the most painful final escapes I've ever seen, because remember, Sigma can't do fish strats, he doesn't have bash, can't do rocket jumps, well, he can do rocket jumps, excuse me, he can't do grenade jumps, so even having the Sunstone, Sigma still has to go to one more tree, and of course he has to find the skills he needs to finish the game.
Now what he does have is quad jump, so that makes a lot of movement easier. Also just in the final escape, some of these first rooms without bash. And he has Sunstone now. Has he? This is either the Horror of Fields check, or he has forgotten that he has not gotten Stomp Tree yet.
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. Also, even just doing this with quad jump, you can make this nice knowledge by Sigma to do this. It might be, I think Sigma may have forgotten that he hasn't been to Stomp, because he's going straight to the door. Well, he'll be able to go in the door, of course, but Sigma might go inside, get his door, and then he'll get that dreaded little camera thing that indicates that you do not have all 10 trees.
Oh wow, so we can hope for a first try door warp at least here.
The faster Sigma gets his door up, the faster he'll realize. First try, well done. He's gonna go check the validation XP.
Oh, this might be something. Okay, just the experience. Well, that would have been funny if there would have been something there that like would make the final escape easier. Yep. And now he realizes old R's and but Sigma made his way to the final escape, so he thinks that he can do it.
You know what? Technically, Sigma can get into Swamp right now. With 6 health, Ultra Defense, and health regeneration.
Yeah, and grenades too.
I know, I remember watching Woolage time this, or measure the health. This is possible for Sigma to survive into Swamp.
It should be, right? Like 11 ticks or something like that, he should be able to...
It's something like that. It's not going to be easy. Also, Sigma has to do a redirect on the spider projectile, but that's the easy part. Well done.
Yep. Easy, for him at least. Being a very experienced runner at the randomizer. Now we will see how much damage he needs to take in order to get through here. He's preparing charge flames to keep the fish away from him, so he does not take more damage. But looks like he's fine. He actually has health regen. So he has more health than it looks like, and yeah. Successfully sequence broke into the Stomp area.
Yeah, this is big. To check in with Ronnie, we've been talking about Sigma for a little bit. Ronnie has just been continuing to search. Ronnie actually did make it to every single remaining tree except for Stomp, similar to Sigma. I actually can't tell how much maximum health Ronnie has at the moment. Are you kidding me? Glide is at the Stomp tree.
That's okay, just so cool. How are we supposed to get into Stomp then?
Well, there are still things that haven't been checked. They're not particularly great pickups, but there are a number of pickups in Logic. For example, some of the pickups in Lost Grove, like the dash-gated ones, or grenade-gated ones. Those are totally in Logic, and so it must be the case that one of those was Charge Jump. Stomp and Charge Jump gets you into Swamp proper, which gets you Glide, and then everything kind of progresses from there. There's also the fact that Bash is completely AWOL, right?
Well, the Glide pickup I think is actually pretty nice for Sigma. because that should make the final room a little bit easier.
I mean, it'll make it effectively free, since Sigma is going to know how to just stand in place and get past the curve trigger.
Yeah, I was. Oh,
again, that's not the hard part. How is Sigma going to get past the lantern room and the fire room with this skill set?
He can, like in the first room, he can do some quad jump action and then just charge dash all the way. He has enough energy to do that. You will probably see. I'll Sigma intends to get through there, right?
Yeah, well, even just to get there, Sigma's already done this once. He has to use quad jump. You cannot stomp on that guy with triple jump. I tried for a long time, but with quad jump you can do it.
And ultra magnet.
Yeah, so Sigma's already gotten one first try to warp. He might be able to get a second one. Check out Ronnie, though. Ronnie is checking some of these pickups I mentioned are in logic. One of these might be dash or charge jump.
Now that pickup was not in logic that he has checked with the grenade rocket jump, but these laser pickups are with his current skill set. Another health cell is definitely nice for the final escape. The thing though is, Sigma is already in his final escape now, and he has a lot of time to try this escape. It's not the easiest escape, but he has, like I said, he has a lot of time to try it.
Yeah, that's effectively what it is. Ronnie, of course, still has to go to the stop tree. Sigma is only able to get there by doing a long, extended damage boost underwater. Ronnie actually doesn't have enough health to do it, I don't think, even if he tried. So Ronnie has to get more health, or ideally, just a better skill set. Holy cow, Sigma! I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning, how he could go through that room. It's pretty difficult to explain, but Sigma was the one who made the video of the different kinds of skill sets for the final escapes, and that one was featured there. It's actually possible with only triple jump, but even harder with only triple jump.
Yeah, Ronnie, by the way, on the right, what Sigma's doing is very exciting. Sigma had to take an intentional death because he took enough damage that he would not have been able to survive the final swim. Ronnie got the Boogle Stomp, though, a trick where you can stomp a frog to get just airborne enough to rocket jump over insta-kill spikes. It's something that Ronnie tried and failed in another race, but this time he got it, so well done.
Maybe he practiced it after?
Well, Ronnie also has a grenade, so it wasn't required.
But swag.
Man, that is a cool trick. Nice job by Sigma.
It looks pretty cool. It needs a lot of energy, though. I think he has charge dash efficiency, so...
No,
it's nice. Yeah, that's the impressive thing. That room with no damage, the elemental room. He has ultra defense, so he could have even damage boost once there. Now Sigma has glide, so he can just stand here and glide up without triggering the Kuro cutscene spawn. And quad jump
actually
is enough to follow through.
Can he make it to the end with quad jump?
Yeah.
Yes, he can. Okay. Okay, so you know this escape better than I do, Spark. So, GG to Sigma.
Wow,
I will gladly eat my words in saying that escape wasn't possible. GG to Sigma.
I mean, it took some attempts even for someone like Sigma, so it's definitely not an easy escape, but it was possible. Sigma has proven that to us by finishing out this seed. And he has pretty much sequence broken everything in this seed.
Yeah, Ronnie, though, I mean, still has a challenging task ahead of him. Ronnie, of course, still needs to get to the stomp tree and still, unless I missed another health cell pickup, still doesn't have enough health to do it. Assuming Ronnie is familiar enough to do that long damage swim, which I'm sure he is. But Ronnie's also trying to revisit Ginso, and of course the physics in this room are a bit janky in certain situations. And so that platform just went off on a little adventure.
Did he reload?
Yeah, Ronnie had to reload because his platform was too far off for him to do anything with. Yeah, meanwhile, Sigma is going to be holding right with Naru. He's almost done. His final time is 47:50. Wonderful job on a seed that didn't appear starved at all, and it turns out missing just a few of those skills makes it exponentially harder to do anything.
The glide pickup on on the Storm Tree is still pretty trolly.
It is, and I mean, as you said, the glide pickup being there proves that pretty much charge jump at this point, charge jump or maybe clean water, or bash, I suppose, have to be somewhere else gated. It's something that isn't gated by glide, right? Glide itself gates access to everything past the first 2 pickups in Misty. It gates Sorrow. Well, if they find charge jump, it doesn't necessarily. We could work through the logic for a while. It gets complicated, but bash and charge jump are almost certainly not on the left side of the map at this point, I think.
Maybe bash could be in Sorrow, and charge jump was the intended way to get you to glide with a Storm Tree. I could see the logic thinking that way, but
we could speculate for a long time. I want to focus on what Ronnie's checking. Ronnie's checking pickups that Sigma has already checked. In this upper half of Ginso, what Sigma didn't do is continue past the second keystone door. It's not in logic right now without charge jump or bash, I think it would be, but it's something that Ronnie will have the skills to be able to do, and he at this point should have quad jump, so that'll make his life a lot easier.
Now we found a 6th health cell. That is actually probably what he is looking for here. Just some more health in order to make the same kinds of sequence breaks that Sigma did. Like, he still has to go to Swamp.
Yeah, this is really hard, though. It looks like Ronnie is trying to make it up to that second keystone door, but it's not easy to damage boost through this room. Since every time you touch these spikes, you get knocked away, even with quad jump. It's a challenge with this low health, I should say.
Now, that's something where I wonder if that's even possible now. I think he still has not gotten quad jump. No, he hasn't, so...
Oh, my mistake, I thought
he has, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, he has. My mistake.
At this point in the seed, it'd be strange if he didn't have it. Ronnie might choose to back out of here after a few more attempts. Again, Sigma has already checked all these pickups, so we know that it's nothing valuable. That last keystone that Ronnie checked being 155 XP, that was very close.
Oh, yeah.
Even so, though, like, getting up here is only going to grant Ronnie access to a handful of things, all of which are still difficult to check without bash or charge jump. You know, so it's a lot of work for not very many pickups, and they're all out of logic. And that's the thing about logic. We talk about it a lot. The reason logic matters is that if you're searching for progression, it can help lead you to progression. This is not in logic, so it doesn't mean that there isn't anything valuable up here. It just means that there is definitely something valuable somewhere else.
And there are probably no skills up there either. Like with charge jump or bash, pretty much gating glide. Oh, that was close.
This is incredibly difficult. Honestly, I'm impressed that Ronnie's getting as close as he is, trying to damage boost up these spike walls. This looks possible. Ronnie just has to get a little bit more height than he's getting.
Yeah, so we see in the SRL chat actually that Ronnie has forfeited the race just now, so he's giving these some more attempts, but he's done with this race. He knows that Sigma is finished, of course, and he pretty much only needs one more thing in order to finish the seed, which he does not seem to get, so his decision to just go for the next seed is probably the right one.
Yeah, well, GG to Sigma. At this point, it would probably take Ronnie or any runner in Ronnie's situation quite a while to finish the seed, since unless you're willing to do the stuff that Sigma did, as I said, I didn't even think that final escape was possible. So it's very understandable that Ronnie just decided to call this one quits. That is, of course, only game 1 out of potentially 3, depending on the results of the next race, but Sigma is now up 1-0 in the best of 3.
Yeah, with a really impressive performance. Like we said, lots of sequence breaks, and like in this seed, Sigma has kind of proven that it could be a good idea to get comfortable with these kind of starved movement technique.
Yeah, well, we're going to go ahead and close out this first game. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to have another one coming after everyone, mostly the runners, takes a short break. But Spark, that was fun commentating that one with you. And on that match, we had Grease and Poogle on truck. But we'll be back soon with the next race.
Yeah, Poogle will jump in from the truck and replace me on commentary for the next match. So I had lots of fun commenting this one with you too, Brim. And taking a little break, and then we will see you again for the next race, the second race of this best of 3.
Hello, welcome back, everyone. We just saw game one where Sigma beat UncleRonny. This is our final quarterfinals match, best of three randomized tournament. I think I covered everything, right, Poogle?
That's all right.
Just I'm going to say every word on the screen, and we're going to basically pretend that that constitutes a proper introduction. But yeah, this is game two. If Sigma wins this, he will advance on to the semifinals. If Ronnie wins, then we're not going to have the game three today. The game three will be scheduled, I believe, for tomorrow. For obvious reasons, that game is tentative, barring the results of the first two.
Now, Sigma won the first game in a very harrowing escape. I didn't think that was possible either. But there were a lot of skills that they just didn't find, and Sigma was like, nah, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it was really impressive to see. Suffice to say that I think both Sigma and Ronnie will probably be pretty relieved if they find some sane skills, like Bash, for example, or Charge Jump. Something with some reasonable, maneuverability about them.
Or basically anything that isn't 30 minutes into the seed.
Yeah, that too.
Spending that amount of time in the seed with only, like, Wall Jump and Charge Flame starts to get a little panicky, I almost feel. Because you know that there's going to be one skill that's just around the corner, but where is it?
Well, it's really scary too. Like, again, I can't read Sigma's mind, but in that scenario, like in the last seed, you have to be thinking, well, crap, can I justify continued searching when I know I can technically beat the game? But would I save myself extra time? Because if you spend 20 seconds and then you find Charge Jump, you just saved yourself a lot of potential deaths in the final escape. Anyway, that's all in the past. Poogle, I have a question for you.
Yes, Grim, what is your question?
What's the first pickup going to be?
Grotto TP. Let's go for something a little bit funny.
Okay. I'm going to say Swamp Teleporter.
So which of those do you think would annoy our runners less to find?
Both. It's a Keystone. Okay.
Alright, so what do you think the first skill is going to be?
The first skill this time is going to be Bash to make up for the last seed.
Oh goodness, throw them a Bash Grenade seed to make up for that. That'd be funny. Because, nothing's open to you now, everything's open to you!
Yeah, it is shocking how much those two skills together open up, like to an almost annoying degree.
Especially considering that, technically speaking, you can go into Blackroot Burrows with just Bash Grenade. It's terrifying, but it will make you do that sometimes.
Well, whatever the first skill is, we haven't found it yet. The first two pickups are 2 Keystones, which means that barring another skill, definitely the main Glades loop is going to be the first area that we see in this particular seed. Probably.
That it will be. Considering that unless they find Wall Jump on the first 4 pickups again, Sigma could go down to Blackroot Burrows as he did last seed.
Yeah, I like Ronnie's blue color, by the way. Doesn't change anything functionally, of course, but it looks nice.
That is one of the fun features about Rando, where you have the color option of just things changing around on you. So now Ronnie is going to be pink.
As long as it's anything that contrasts with the background, you're all good. Sometimes you get this like dark grayish purple and it's a bad time. 4 Keystone opening. Can we get a Keystone at Fake Flippers? Oh, no. Lots of XP, though.
Ronnie's going to keep it.
Yeah, I kind of like that decision. There's always a gamble whether you default to keeping Fake Flippers or leaving it, but that's 3 automatic levels for Ronnie. That's worth, the 20 seconds it takes to run back, I think.
More Keystones! What the heck? Well,
every single in-logic pickup has been a Keystone so far.
That's honestly really hilarious.
Here on the left, we see Sigma dipping down into this little alcove that contains a map. Of course, Sigma doesn't have a map stone yet, so sometimes you'll see runners put this off, but when you're this starved on skills, you can't really leave anything behind. It's a map, and the map is hot garbage.
An ability cell. So Ronnie's going to not necessarily go into Spirit Caverns, but at least open the door first, and is going to then follow Sigma down to the map pedestal. So Sigma's going to have 1 ability point so far, and Ronnie's going to have 4. So that's going to be really nice so that they don't have to worry about skipping the cutscenes in Blackroot Burrows. They're going to have plenty of things to be able to do.
Cool, this is crazy. We just saw Sigma check the last in-logic pickup before the wall jump tree, and it's still absolutely nothing. The entire seed so far has been keystones and experience. And
so obviously then that means that the Waldron tree is going to be Swamp Teleporter to make them go around and go into horror fields and get the help cell.
God, I hope so. There are some heinous openings which are possible, and
oh no!
So that opens up exactly one
pickup,
right? Yeah, that experience orb at the entrance to Charge Flame, which means that wall jump had to be progression. Now this other experience orb has to be progression.
So this could be a couple things. This could be wall interaction. This could be charge jump. This could be a teleporter. This could be bash. Oh, this is a lot more of an interesting start than things we've seen prior. Okay.
It's interesting. It's also linear, which I actually think is kind of nice as a runner because it means you don't need to stress so much. It's wall jump. That's very, very, very commonly wall jump just based on, I guess, the math of the randomizer. With that and with grenade, Sigma will be able to full clear the charge flame area early, which is nice.
In which case, then our runners are more than likely going to have to go all the way back around, and considering the keystones. Like, more keystones!
We're going to have that split, because like you mentioned before that Ronnie opened up Spirit Caverns. So Ronnie might decide to back out of this tree and go hit Spirit Caverns. Looks like Sigma might be as well. The other option is to Alt-R and go immediately to Blackroot.
Mm-hmm.
There are other options, but those are the two kind of reasonable options, I think.
Now, the one interesting thing could be is if there are almost no keystones in Spirit Cavern, which might mean that the seed wants you to go to Blackroot, go get the dash tree, get enough keystones, and then go up and around, which means that considering what both of our owners are doing is going to require a double dip.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Like Sigma and well, Sigma already had 2 keystones coming into here. Ronnie already opened the door, so
now, here's an interesting thought. They're both skipping. Oh no! So Ronnie's gonna take the save here and go check the wall jump loop because there are still 3 pickups there. Sigma, however, decided to ignore that for now in favor of going up here immediately.
Yeah, that's another kind of interesting split. If I had to guess, the reason is that if you have to do both of these things, it's probably a little bit faster to drop down out of Spirit Caverns than to go where Ronnie's going and climb back up. You know what I mean? It's not much of a difference, but if you know you're going to be checking both, it's probably a bit faster to do what Sigma's doing, but not by very much.
That also depends on if you're going to then go through the Keystone Door. Because if you're going to go through the Keystone Door back up, it makes more sense to take that routing choice and go up through Spirit Caverns once you go back down.
Well, this is the other thing, and we're seeing it in action from Ronnie. Notice how Ronnie's heading back down to the wall jump tree. The reason, of course, being that he... Sigma, by the way, tried a damage boost. Ronnie's going to check this energy cell, and then if this is nothing, it can be save scummed. But since it... What am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that Sigma will be able to go down here if he so chooses, and then Alt-R, knowing that he's already cleared out everything else, right? Ronnie has to climb back up, which takes a bunch of time. So that's another reason to go to Spirit Caverns first in this scenario. Again, it's not set in stone, but that's probably what Sigma was thinking when he made that choice.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
So now we're going to see somewhat of a high five.
Yeah, a high five. And I think you'll see the results of what I was just describing. Like, Ronnie is spamming grenades. The nice thing is that in the randomizer, the grenade costs nothing. So Ronnie is now heading into Spirit Caverns and has to do all of that. Once he's done, Ronnie will have a choice as to whether to continue through this door or go into BRB, where Sigma is already going into BRB. So it's still very early in the seed, not too much to speak of yet, but Sigma does have a small early game advantage.
Ronnie can also check Valley entry, which he can get both the Stompable Floor by way of the Frankie and the plants via grenade. Now, usually that ends up being nothing, but on the chance that that does happen to be something, Ronnie might have a skill that might make Blackroot be a little less insufferable.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess...
Or not.
It. Yeah, and there's good reason for that. Ronnie's at 5 keystones, and you might never have to open that door.
That's true.
Yeah, there's a variety of situations in which you never have to open that door, and for obvious reasons, it's nice to have 4 additional keystones in your back pocket.
Especially when sometimes, instead of being skill-starved, you end up being keystone-starved. And sometimes you forget to check your keystone count. when you enter Ginso Tree. It's not like I'm speaking from experience, but then you're just like, oh no, I have to key dupe in the first part of Ginso, and that's just awful.
It feels bad, man, is what it is.
There you go.
Yeah, so with this, Sigma is obviously a little bit further along in Blackroot since Sigma started it first. Ronnie will be grabbing his orb here, which is going to need for later, and then backtracking off to the right. Does only have 3 health, but Ronnie safely traverses those spikes. Meanwhile, we'll see what Sigma finds in these remaining 2 pickups approaching the dash tree. Well, including the dash tree as well.
So, I'm a little curious by this, because Sigma could just use Grenade to hit the lantern. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, yeah, that's about all it is. It's nice that Sigma didn't forget. That's another thing where, speaking from experience, it can be very easy to forget that Grenade can activate those.
Getting Climb from that upper experience orb, so that's interesting. We've got Wall Jump, Grenade, and Climb.
Climb, when you also have Wall Jump, doesn't matter very much. It's still a nice skill, especially because Climb Charge Jump can be a good combination, and because when you're on a wall with Climb, you can toss grenades. Which, right now doesn't matter a whole lot, but, like, depending on whether these guys find Bash or Charge Jump, Climb becomes much more valuable.
Especially with Charge Jump, because let's say Charge Jump's somewhere down here. We get Grenade Jumps almost immediately.
Oh no. Let's not discuss that.
Well, considering that Charge Jump would be a welcome sight for our runners right now, I would honestly love to see that.
Yeah, it'd be cool, especially after last seed was so mean in not giving them a Charge Jump or Bash or anything. I want to see the Bash pickup at this point. Both of these runners are on keyboard mouse, so we're not going to have any sort of annoying input discrepancy. Bash Grenade would just open up a huge amount and would give these guys a lot more fluidity in their movement than they were afforded last time.
So we should have gotten the first clue there, but because Sigma leveled up, he got that text instead, so we have no idea what the first clue even is right now.
We'll have to pay attention when Ronnie does it. I guess if not, we'll just wildly speculate instead until we actually see what it is.
So obviously that means Water Wind Forlorn, right?
It's from Ronnie's screen. Soul Link is ready, apparently. Wait, I didn't see any of the text. I thought it was supposed to appear. Well, okay, we don't know what the first clue is. I guess that's okay. That's great.
I'm just gonna say that that's something having to do with the cutscene stack and leave with that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Sigma's heading down into the boulder area. This is something that I know Sigma's a pretty big fan of skipping in general, since at the moment only one of these pickups is in logic. That said, this seed is still pretty starved. I mean, Grenade is nice, Wall Interaction is nice, but it's still pretty starved. And so it's hard to pass up a number of these pickups, even if they're out of logic.
And a health cell is nice. This means Ronnie won't be spending 40 minutes or so on 3 health.
Sigma found a Spirit Flame upgrade in the boulder, which is a very convenient thing. I think it was something that Sigma and Ronnie will probably be happy to have. It just really simplifies a lot of your combat in the game, especially when you have a scroll wheel sign shooting. You can just take out things very efficiently, which is not only fast, it's just sort of satisfying to wreck all the enemies around you.
Absolutely. And with Grenade, that's just going to be super quick to get rid of most things in their way.
Yeah, so here's this progression. Sigma is going back into Spirit Caverns in order to go through this 4 keystone door. It's the only thing that Sigma can do over here at the moment. Doing so will open up Valley Entrance and will open up the Spider Sack area, which seems to be where Logic is taking them, since, to my knowledge, no teleporters have been found yet, right?
Absolutely correct.
How interesting.
So technically this is roughly vanilla pathing, though instead of Charge Flame we have Grenade, which is a lot nicer considering they only have 1 energy, Grenade happens to be free, so on and so forth.
Yeah, what I'm wondering about Sigma, again, this seed is still very linear. We had a bit of a split and it's back to linear, so Sigma is currently in the lead as far as the linearness is concerned. I'm curious whether Sigma is going to go get this wall jump pickup. It is in logic. There's double jump.
He will now, because he doesn't have wall jump. He does double jump.
Man, that's one of the most convenient double jump pickups I've ever seen. That logic that pickup that Sigma just got is in logic, even with wall jump only. But it's dangerous and it's slow and it's terrible and it sucks. With double jump, it's really easy though.
Well, they do have 5 HP, so technically it's not as bad as it could be, because those spikes all do 3 damage. So if you don't get any health pickups, and you're like, oh, but I could totally go for that pickup, but literally everything will kill me. Not a fun time.
Agreed. Sigma also, since he was able to full clear the valley entry, was able to... nice job too. To finish my thought, Sigma skipped the Grove cutscene and then did a nice double jump trick to get up here without having to go back down into the charge flame little area to pull the lever. That's not the easiest bit of double jump movement. And it's also something that I bet Ronnie doesn't know how to do. Because
I don't think a lot of people know how to do that.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't know how to do it. And so that's going to be another time save for Sigma. After this, Sigma might be as much as like a minute ahead.
Especially considering Ronnie is going to watch this cutscene.
Yeah, watching this cutscene is always a gamble. It's a topic of pretty much continuous debate. Watching this cutscene and having the teleporter is very convenient, but it takes quite a long time. You can skip the main cutscene, but you can't skip a lot of the associated sort of pseudo cutscene stuff, right? And that's why it takes so much time. And of course, you get the teleporter. Sigma's not going to have that teleporter, but as it turns out, if you only go back to the Grove teleporter one time, it's actually faster to skip the cutscene and then run back there from spawn, going through the charge flame area.
Oh, that I did not know.
Yeah, assuming you only go back there once. The moment you have to teleport to Grove twice, you've now lost time. But since Sigma is able to full clear Valley entrance, he's going to assume that he's either never going to go back to Grove or only going to have to do it once.
Oh, well, Ronnie's going for it. Then decided to go for the lever instead, which I think is a much saner play.
Yeah, that's the sort of trick that it feels like you have to sit down and practice, because if you don't know exactly how to do it, it feels like it would probably just lose you a bunch of time and be pretty frustrating.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, anyway, Sigma's just continuing around Spider Sack. Has not found anything valuable yet, but now Sigma will be in the Isos area, which is home to a number of pickups with double jump and wall jump. Sigma can also check the experience orb at Isos itself without having to do the trick, which is kind of nice.
Well, no, the trick is awful. Not having to do the trick is nice.
Oh, I like the trick. I enjoy that I can watch other people suffer through it.
Well, yeah. Well, on a much more applicable topic, Sigma just got the water vein from the ability cell above this area, and wind restored from Mapstone to Luxor.
Yeah, and this is really fascinating too. This is also something that I know that myself and like a few people were discussing the other day. So Sigma was in the Isis area, right? And he cleared out a bunch of stuff, decided to skip the Horrorfield's health cell, but then Sigma was faced with a choice. Do I go to the swamp teleporter and maybe continue around the outer swamp loop, or do I go straight into Grotto? Sigma's going to go straight into Grotto because Grotto leads to a tree and it has more pickups, but that means that Sigma doesn't have the swamp teleporter at the moment. However, I think that it's faster, I might be wrong, I think it's faster for Sigma to go down here to Grotto and then go to the Grotto TP, climb up the swamp, rather than making a dip to the swamp TP only to activate it, if that makes sense.
That indeed does make sense, and considering you are a little more understandable of how things work in here, I will trust your judgment.
Well, I might be totally off base. It doesn't matter. The point is that Sigma believes it to be true. So if that Sigma is in Grotto, and Grotto is a very dense area, he'll be able to check most things down here.
Now, the interesting thing is we still have not seen our runners hit Alt-P, which is the command to bring up the tree count / pickup count / potential clue. So we still don't know.
I wonder if Ronnie knows, to be honest, because I didn't even see his text appear. Like, even for him. I guess the good news is that the seed is linear enough that Sigma, for example, I think would be doing these exact same checks regardless of what his clue was.
We're gonna get to see what this is. So, Ronnie taking a bit of a save scum there in order to check that underwater pickup, which, if he wanted to keep, he would have had to immediately ult Arthur.
Yeah, not worth it. Sigma is not going to be able to check the vault. He'll be able to go into the vault and check some of the stuff, I guess. Actually, he could save drop it. So I take it back. Sigma can check this through a glitch if he wants to. I mean, he could check the ability to sell in the plant, but to check the other two pickups is going to require a glitch.
Wondering if he's going to go for it. I'm also wondering if getting the water vein early is going to kind of poke either of our runners in the general direction of Ginso. And it looks like he is going to save drop.
Yeah, this is a trick I know I've seen Sigma go for before. The idea is that when you make a save in midair in this game and you respawn, the game spawns you at the nearest floor that's directly beneath you, which in this case is already down here. With this, Sigma has no way to break the ceiling out of, you know, casual logic, so he just has to go pull the lever. But this is going to be access to two pickups that Ronnie might not get for quite some time, depending on his routing decisions once he gets down to Grotto.
He is also taking this time to go through the Swamp Loop, so if Swamp Loop does happen to have any forms of progression, then Sigma's not going to be able to come here for quite some time. It's the best pickup! It
is. A Warmth Returned is garbage. 73 experience is 73 times garbage. Ronnie... I can't form sentences. Ronnie's going around the outer Swamp Loop. With Grenade, he'll be able to check pretty much everything here. Oh, you saw it, okay.
So we've got the Gumon Seal and Sorrow. That is what the clue was.
Hooray. Everyone was excited in Opposite Land. Yeah, anyway, so Sigma, having cleared out left grotto, is going to go to, you know, right grotto and clear probably everything. Might decide to skip the mini-boss. Sigma also had to skip activating the map altar because he does not currently have a map stone in his possession.
Now, because Ronnie has double jump here, he can actually go and get this health cell, go and get the plant with Grenade, but the only thing he has to skip is the ability cell that's above the frog, or normally above the frog.
Yeah, still nothing really valuable has been found on either side, right? I mean, both Ronnie and Sigma have their wind restored and all that, so that's not an advantage either way. But Ronnie's checking a few pickups. We'll see what he finds. Sigma did take a death a moment ago, but it actually, I think, saved him time.
Oh, that's 4 energy with the runners combined.
Oh, you're right, you're right.
Ronnie found an energy cell coming around here. Sigma found 2 down in Grotto. That'll make 4 by the time Ronnie ends up going into Grotto, so... Well, there's Charge Flame for Sigma, but Ronnie will be able to actually go and do the 4 energy door in Grotto legitimately instead of having to do the save drop. Now, it's a bit of a red herring, considering that we know that what's down there is Warmth Returned and 73 experience, or garbage and more garbage, but it does allow for Ronnie to then go and get 4 energy doors if he so chooses elsewhere, and might just be a little bit of a extra safe just thought for him.
I mean, there's that progression vault, and the Sunstone is at the double jump tree. Clues no longer matter at all. It's all about getting to trees and finishing the game.
So, at this point, it turns into an execution versus experience race, if anything.
I mean, yeah, it's also just going to come down to where those pickups are. Like, Sigma can't finish the game right now. Much as he, with all the strats in the world, you can't finish the game with this. Nor would you want to, because it sounds awful. So, yeah, who's going to find that important experience? We know for a fact that Ronnie's going to get... well, Ronnie already has a Sunstone. We know for a fact that he's going to... I can't speak. What I'm trying to say is that he's going to have his keys anyway. There's no possible way for him to miss the Sunstone. And so, yeah, it's going to just come down to finding the next important skill.
To my knowledge, Sigma also did not check Death Gauntlet.
I think that's correct. I know Sigma likes to put it off until you can enter it from the right side using 4 energy. Sigma currently only has 3, right? But he will get his 4th in Swamp Entry.
That he will. Meanwhile, Ronnie's gonna get energy restoration, energy regeneration. I can talk today as well. See, we both can't talk. It's fine, Grim. He's gonna get energy regeneration out of Keystone here.
This is really interesting because although the runners individually are still doing their own searching, from our sort of elevated commentator booth, we've seen most of, not all, but most of the in-logic pickups that are currently available, and still no new skills have been found. So actually, Poogle, let me kind of put you on the spot. What is left?
You go to Ginso.
Okay.
I was waiting. I was figuring that was what you were gonna say, and you have the water vein. You got the water vein super early. You have a double jump. You go to Ginso.
Yeah.
You can break the plant. You can get everything up to. Actually, you can literally go up to the key dupe room because you have extra double jump. Is that in logic? No, but they can do it.
Well, and there are a total of 7 pickups, I think, in the first half of Ginso Tree, including Bash. If any one of those is Charge Jump or Bash, then they can continue further on, and at that point it would be sort of, I think, a pretty objectively wrong decision to not continue in Ginso if that was the case. But we'll see if it is. And I really like this loot by Sigma for that reason. Sigma decided to go do all of his swamp entry checking and whatnot, and this will lead him just directly to the door of Ginso.
Okay, so another interesting thing is because Sigma did not have the super more energy going down into the Ginso, into the grotto, he couldn't check the grotto vaults. Like, well, could not check the glide vault because the glide vault also had an energy cell and 230 experience. Now, all things considered, I don't know if it's going to weigh on the back of his mind because he didn't check that, but now that he's been around the swamp loop, knows that he potentially could have been able to.
Right, right. So it's going to be lingering in the back of his mind that that's just a few, well, one more pickup in the case of Glide Vault that's in logic. But yeah, we've already seen Sigma check everything that Ronnie's checking at the moment. I'm very curious to see what Sigma's going to find again. So, and the other thing is those 4 energy pickups. As you said, there's Progression Vault, there's Blazer, just a few additional pickups that might be the key to finishing out, depending on what Sigma finds.
Now, let me pose this question to you then, Grim. If Ginso Tree is not actually progression in the slightest, where do you go?
I would say that you go to Glazer and then to the Progression Vault, to be honest. Because much as we meme about Glazer, it's not that slow a check. And when you're this starved, and especially when you have those dungeon keys, all you need is the next skill, or 1 or 2 more skills to finish out the game, or whatever it might be. And then you can go finish things out. And so you just go to whatever's in logic.
Yeah, I think the reason that we just meme about Glazer all the time is that it's so early and you don't often have 4 energy to do the check. So when you get in there, it's like, oh, I have to go all the way back. But there's 2 teleporters in a row.
That's astonishing. 2 teleporters, and they're both useless at the moment. That's amazing. It's like, it's so close to progression.
There you go!
There it is. All right. So, Poogle, your prediction was correct. With Charge Jump, and very well-timed Charge Jump, I might add, Sigma will be able to continue further up in the Ginso Tree and clear out, not everything, but he'll be able to clear out quite a bit. Actually, he can clear everything, but some of it's technically out of logic, but that's okay.
He's not going to choose to do so. He's going to choose to leave.
That's very interesting.
This is not a particularly a risky play, but this could potentially come back to bite him, just because you have Charge Jump now. It's almost like the game is telling you, go to Ginso, keep going up through the key dupe room, because I cannot tell you the amount of times I have seen either someone else or myself get burned because something in the key dupe room is within logic. It's like, oh hey, there is actually in your and my match, the Sunstone was in Sorrow. I didn't go up and get Glide in the key dupe room, and you kicked my butt.
Yeah, and actually a very obvious thing that I'm glad Sigma remembered because I didn't. With Charge Jump specifically, as opposed to like Bash, although Bash should be nice as well, Sigma has Climb, Charge Jump. Remember that Climb pickup that we said might be valuable later if we found Charge Jump? Well, there it is. With Climb Charge Jump, you can simulate a stomp in most cases, and so Sigma is able to get down into the light grenade area, open up a save anywhere with a nice behind the ability menu grenade jump. This will get Sigma access to the grenade tree, at which point the only things left are Stomp, which Sigma can get to easily, and then the left side, which Sigma can still do relatively easily.
Teleporter.
Because of the Sara teleporter. Exactly. Exactly. So I was, my initial reaction was like, oh my god. This is crazy too because they don't have Stomp, right? Which means the Kuro kill plane isn't active. So Sigma will probably end up going to, well, I don't know whether he's going to go to Stomp first or left side first. Probably Stomp. But like when he goes left side, assuming he doesn't find Stomp along the way, Sigma could just go to Valley and Grenade Jump if he wanted to.
Yeah, the other thing is that even with Stomp, you can just Grenade Jump past the kill plane.
You can do a lot of fancy shenanigans. The kill plane is only a suggestion, I think.
Yeah, you know what? I will completely agree with that.
Yeah, so here, we've kind of been focusing on Sigma for a while, but Sigma is going to that Sorrow TP. He's going left from the teleporter, which means that Sigma will be able to get to this and then probably go ahead and use the Valley teleporter. That's going to probably be faster and easier than trying to drop down through Sorrow without Feather and Air Dash.
So instead of going into Ginso, Ronnie is going to make a Glades revisit. I'm wondering where he thinks progression is going to end up being.
Well, it does kind of come down to that. It's sort of a repeat of what we saw last seed, not in exactly the same way, but Ronnie, as you said, is just continuing to do checks rather than rushing towards trees. This time, the tree in question would be Bash. Last seed, it was Light Grenade that Ronnie put off for quite some time. Not that Light Grenade had progression last seed, but it's, you know, defined progression that Ronnie decided to skip in favor of continued searching.
He might be going to Progression Vault now.
He might, and before we were saying, like, if Ginso hadn't had progression, then something like Glazer or the Progression Vault over here becomes extremely, extremely tempting. With Charge Jump opens up a lot more, right? Which means that the chance that these are anything kind of... Oh wait, we just saw... Did you see what Ronnie was doing? Mousing over his water vein, just remembered that he has it.
Which means he will also get to Ginso and get his Charge Jump skill. The way he's been cleaning up pickups like this, I'm not sure if he will choose to Altar out after the Bash trade. But at this point, Sigma is a ways ahead. I believe this will be his 8th tree?
I think that's correct. Yeah, Sigma from here will just be doing some grenade jumps into Misty. This Misty is not going to be as convenient as it would be with rocket jumps and Bash, but Sigma's not going to have any trouble with it at all. Sigma's also going to have even less trouble. Like, getting to the Stomp tree is going to be completely trivial. Poogle, do you think that the final escape is going to be challenging with this skill set?
He's going to have quad jump, ultra defense, and grenade jumps. I think he'll be okay.
I agree with your professional assessment. Sigma's pulling off a lot of really nice grenade jumps. Ronnie is also a grenade jump aficionado, but he doesn't have charge jump yet. He'll get it pretty soon, but doesn't have it quite yet. I have to say, I'm just really enjoying Sigma move through Misty, taking almost no damage in a lot of spots. It's cool to see these runners who know exactly where to stand for safety and all that stuff, exactly when to jump in order to avoid all the damage.
It also doesn't hurt that he has, I believe, at least 2 Spirit Flame upgrades and Grenade. So anything else that stands in his way, like those frogs, he can just make go away.
He can. Indeed, it's just going to be this and Stomp remaining. Ronnie in Ginso has made it to the mini-boss. And I don't really have much of a follow-up. The mini-boss is dead. See ya.
Bye, mini-boss!
If I recall correctly, Charge Jump was not in this room that Ronnie's in right now, but it's going to be in the next room.
Right, because
this room
these
has
are
the
both
double
teleporters.
Nice job by Ronnie to check both keystones without... or, like, you know, without having to do the traditional thing through the teleporters. So with that, Ronnie has his charge jump. He'll be getting to Bash and will have a decision as to whether to continue, whereas Sigma has activated Tree 9, only Stomp to go.
And hopefully he will not forget it this time.
Yeah, so Sigma backed out of here, here being the Bash tree and continuing up the second half of Ginso. And as we've seen, Sigma's going to have no trouble with this. That said, I still think there's a huge amount of validity and legitimacy in continuing in Ginso, because you can check a lot of stuff very quickly It's very dense, and at this point, something like Feather or Bash would be extremely valuable.
Oh, that was really nice. I figured Ronnie would go for the climb charge jump method, but instead he just redirects. That was really sweet.
Yeah, Ronnie actually, I think, made a small mistake, maybe intended to do a climb charge jump off of the barricade, so he had to leave one thing behind, but it's not going to matter too much. In fact, I think Ronnie may not have internalized that he has climb charge jump, as we see him attempting a difficult, this is not easy, a difficult charge flame redirect of this projectile to break the floor.
Ronnie, you have climb!
The problem is that climb came such a long time ago that it doesn't process as like a new thing that is exciting, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Anyway, Ronnie unfortunately hasn't found the skills he needed. It wouldn't have been enough to catch up since Sigma just activated tree number 10 and will be advancing to the final escape. But as I said, I still think that continuing up through that second keystone room, it's not only in logic, but it's, you know, pretty intelligent, given that Ronnie, he doesn't need, but he would still like one or two more skills if he can find them.
Right.
Oh, apparently we have Vanilla Stomp. I wasn't even paying attention to Sigma. Whoops.
I didn't see that either.
Well, it's because Stomp doesn't matter very much right now. Stomp, right now, its utility would be in, I guess, breaking stuff in the final escape, but you can already do that with Charge Flame.
That you can.
Yeah, also an interesting thing that Sigma never activated his Swamp Teleporter. Remember that the first time Sigma came through the Iceless Loop, he didn't go to the Swamp TP and instead decided to take the other fork in the road down to Grotto. That means that Sigma, on his way to Horu, went to the Grotto TP and is just climbing up. Did have to watch the curve cutscene along the way.
Well, he's definitely got Stomp.
Definitely. Looks like Ronnie is... I wasn't sure if he was heading back towards Swamp entry. Ronnie could also go into Swamp through this bottom route, and it looks like that's what Ronnie's doing. He can break the floor with Charge Flame and then C-jump the roof.
Looks like he's gonna go for this pickup as well. There's gonna be 135 experience. Oh, that's cool!
That's clever. That's the second one of those we've seen, these kind of charge dump, charge flame redirects. So well done by Ronnie. Didn't get anything for it, but it's still good knowledge to have.
Can use grenade to break that floor, and Sigma is going to be in to Mount Horu, this time with all 10 trees ready to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's all but over. That was a first try door warp. Frame perfect trick for Sigma will bring him to the final escape. Sigma's going to have to be a little bit careful. He's going to have to use some grenade jumps, I think, to make it through this. He might be able to salvage without it, but he'll probably just use grenade jumps anyway.
Another interesting thing that the energy cell that Ronnie is skipping below is also in logic with his skill set, which means he definitely does not remember he has climb.
I think that's probably true. Yeah, we also haven't seen Ronnie going for any grenade jumps yet. Not that they would have saved a huge amount of time in the areas that he's been to, but anyway. With this, it's all but over for Ronnie, unfortunately. Sigma still has to finish this escape, so I want to draw attention to the left side to see what Sigma's going to do. Looks like he is going to use the grenade jump route to get past. Well, that's the most logical thing for him to do at this point. I have to say, very nicely done. I mean, grenade jump is a frame perfect trick where you have to press two inputs one frame apart. So it's something that it's not hard to do one grenade jump. It's hard to do them consistently, especially when you're time gated. But Sigma pulled it through very nicely. Has to do a triple jump or quad jump, whichever one it is, thing around the curve cutscene spawn, and now he can set up for the final grenade jump.
And he gets all of his grenade jumps first try and is out of the final escape.
I think Sigma may have gotten every single grenade jump, like, in the entire seed first try.
I believe you're correct, yeah.
That's impressive. More to the point, that's going to be a victory in Game 2 for Sigma, meaning that he will be advancing from the quarterfinals on to the semifinals. And who's Sigma going to be facing? I mean, I know the answer. It's redundant, but...
Oh, well, then why don't you tell me this, Grim?
Sorry, I was trying to set up a thing.
No.
One sec, I just want to see. Sigma's final time was a 37:52. Anything sub 40 is, I think, really impressive, so well done by Sigma. Sigma's going to be facing his doubles partner, Raziel, in the semifinals, and I just find that to be really, really entertaining.
That's going to be an incredible match.
It will indeed. Ronnie has seen the SRL chat, did type so he seems to be wondering where to go as far as logic is concerned. You know, Ronnie used that Sorrow Teleporter and was able to make it to the charge jump tree anyway, but Ronnie must know that doing so was not in logic with that current skill set. So yeah, I think Ronnie might just be a little bit confused as to where those other skills are hidden. I guess Bash and Feather being the big ones. He doesn't need them, but might be wondering where they are anyway.
Yeah, the Bash has eluded our runners on both sides.
Yeah, well, I guess to get back down, we saw a bit of a split. Sigma was able to find the... yeah, you're right, by the way, that Ronnie definitely seems to have forgotten that he has Climb. You can use Climb Charge Jump to break this. In fact, it is the intended way to do so, but Ronnie's doing Stomp instead. That... Even if Ronnie remembered he had Climb, it wouldn't have changed the outcome because of how far ahead Sigma was, but it's certainly making things more difficult for Ronnie.
Absolutely. And considering we got Climb 5-6 minutes in?
Yeah, it was early.
Yeah, because it was a Blackguard.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ronnie was able to make it through. Thankfully, there are multiple ways to make it through many of these barricades. Dropped a save for safety, and he's going to have to do a damage boost, I think, as well. Or not.
Or not.
Yeah, so with that, Ronnie is going to have 2 trees to go once he picks up Feather. The first one being Misty Woods, that's the harder one, and the second one being Light Grenade. However, Ronnie has forfeited in SRL, just wanted to sort of finish up this section that he's on. So GG to Ronnie.
Both of our runners putting up an excellent show. It's hard to beat Sigma.
Yeah, it looks like...
Sorry,
go ahead.
It's extremely difficult to beat basically the person who knows about the randomizer inside out, sideways, and backwards.
I agree with that. Ronnie has declined to join for an interview, so we're going to be pulling in Sigma in just a moment. In fact, right about now. Yo, Sigma, GG, dude.
Hey, thanks, Grim.
So what did you think of those 2 seats?
Oh my god, that first one was so painful. Charge jumpless, bashless is, possible without quad jump, but I refuse to do it in tournament races because the escape is way too hard. With quad jump, I'll try it. But man, did I ever want to get a skill. So I was so relieved in the second seed when I got charge jump because the starting skills were the same. We had double jump, we had extra double jump appearing underwater, and I was just thinking, if I get dash again, I'm gonna have to do the same escape, which is just a nightmare. Wow.
To be fair, you pulled off that escape and made it look really not a nightmare, so you made it look easy when we all know that was extremely difficult.
Yeah, well, I mean, the really nice thing was we got Clyde just handed to us on the stomp tree in the last seed, which makes the last room trivial. But it's really hard to get up there with just jumps, and I was in between the races. I was practicing the final room because I was gonna go for it without Glide in the first race. I was going to die to the last room at least once. So yeah, I'm very, very glad that showed up.
Yeah, well, sticking on the first race for a minute, did you consider going and doing a bunch of additional digging to find, charge jump or bash something to make it a little bit easier, or did you have a moment where you're like, all right, screw it, this is going to suck, but I'm just going to finish it?
I was intending for a really long time to just finish with the skills I had. I think as soon as I was on the left side, I was probably just, content, because I knew I had quad jump, I knew I had alter defense, so I was intending to just finish with those skills, but I was like really, really thinking about the final escapes. Like, do I have enough health? It's like, can I do the elemental room without a damage booster with only 1 damage boost? And like, can I like do the swim? And I really wanted like 1 or 2 more health cells. So I even checked the experience at the bottom quarter in the first race because I just really wanted anything to help because that escape's so scary.
Yeah. Well, I guess that was race 1. Race 2 was far less painful. Tell me about the Ginso tree. Did you consider continuing to the second half?
Once I had to C-jump, I was just going to treat it as go mode. I wasn't even going to go to the second half if there wasn't anything in the start, because all I wanted really was C-jump or bash. And like the one or the other can't appear up there, so I would rather like look in logic for it and not do a triple jump sequence break in that case.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. Google, I think I'll toss back to you if you have other questions.
Did you consider looking for other things in game 2, or were you just like, I have grenade jumps, I'm fine?
As soon as I found charge jump, it was just complete go mode. Like I was just going straight to tree.
I have one more question, which applies to both seeds. It seemed like you were more thorough than usual, and maybe I'm off base there, but did you feel like you were playing more thorough than usual, or was it just because the openings were kind of starved?
It mainly had to do with the opening skills, because it's just so painful when you're, walking around with wall jump charge flame to leave stuff behind, because the revisits are like minutes long. So I like to maybe be a bit more thorough. I think things like I went and cleared a left side of Grotto for nothing in game 2, and that was mainly because I really didn't want to do the same escape again, like the same set of skills. I really, really wanted bash or charge jump, so I was like, I'm gonna check a little bit more stuff before I try to finish up here. I think as well I didn't have a map stone then. I wanted to put it in the Grotto map stone, and I was hoping to find one over there, but it didn't happen, so, that's how it goes.
Sure, makes sense. Well, Pugo, I think I will let you ask about the future race.
So how do you feel going up against your doubles partner?
It could go either way. That one is just spooky, so I'm just gonna play the game and see what happens. And I'll go to the tournament with my head held high if I lose to Raz. Actually, everybody I've played in brackets, I could not be ashamed of losing to. They're all so good.
So on that note, how do you feel having to play with Raz in an hour? At this point, almost half an hour.
Well, the nice thing is you tend to get a lot more skills in doubles, so I'm hoping that I'll have that and that I don't have to do this double jump crap anymore. But we'll see how it goes.
So, as such, we have our next race in about a half an hour, 40 minutes, with Sigma and Raziel versus Shed and Oshi. About half an hour-ish. So, are your goals for doubles any different than singles? Like, where do you think you guys are going to come out in that?
Well, we won last year, so, we can't do worse than that, right? We got to match up and win.
You have to. Yeah, well, that was cool. Congrats on advancing to the semifinals. Whatever happens with you and Raz, we'll find out, I guess, this coming week. As Pugel said, the other race today is in like half an hour. It's on a different channel, though. I think is currently scheduled for Speed Gaming 5. It's possible that'll change. I'm not sure, but for now, it's on SG5. And as for singles matches, we're down to, in theory, only 3 of them remaining, right? The 2 semis and the finals, like in total.
Aren't we doing a third place match?
Oh, right. Okay, well, the point is that we're going to have more singles later on this week. On this match, though, thank you to Skull and Spark for trucking, and thanks to Smashy for restreaming both this and the previous game. And Pugel, that was fun commentating with you.
Always a pleasure, Grim. So, for now, everyone, Speed Gaming 5 will ideally be where we will be in about half an hour or so. Thanks for watching. Have a great afternoon, everyone.